All right, you guys. So first things first, we're going to talk about a hot button issue that's been going around. And yes, that is I did trim my beard. But besides trimming my beard, we're going to talk about Palworld. Palworld, if you guys did not know, is being billed as one of the biggest games that could potentially threaten the throne of Pokemon. Of all things, Pokemon. Why you gotta take Pokemon from me? Anyways, you guys, I got a article from Digitalttrends. If you guys don't know what Digitalttrends is, it's kind of like opinion pieces. And this article talks about Palworld, and we're going to read over it because there's some good points, and then there's some not so good points that this guy talks about when it comes to Palworld. And trust me, I have yet to play it. I've watched plenty of gameplay. So anyways, we're not going to waste any more time. Let's get into the article. No! Palworld isn't going to be a Pokemon killer. I mean, the thing of it is, with that title right there, that's what really sucked in my attention. And I was like, I gotta read this article. Let's talk about it. And the problem is like, there's so many different intellectual properties out there that were built as the next big Pokemon, the Pokemon killer. I mean, shit, think about it. When Pokemon first came out, there was Pokemon and Digimon. And to me, they were very, very similar, but they were very, very different. It was interesting. Anyways, we have our first hit video game of 2024, and it's a shocker. To me, it's not a shocker because, mind you, I had heard about Palworld over a year ago. I've been waiting to see if this game was even worth getting for over a year. The eccentric Palworld, an early access game available now on PC and Xbox Game Pass, is smashing Steam records as developer Pocket Pair sells millions of copies. That's thanks in large part to its bizarre elevator pitch, which is successfully described as Pokemon with guns. And mind you, when I first heard about this game over a year ago, that's what it was billed as. Pokemon with guns. And I was 100% on board. Mind you, it's in early access still. We're going to continue reading. That success has come with some heated debate. Palworld earned a lot of criticism in its inaugural weekend as players discovered monsters' designs that look nearly identical to some of those in Pokemon. Listen, man. I'm just going to put this out here. Just throw it out there like a Pokeball. There's only so much you can change the look of a leaf. There's only so much you can change the look of a rock. So no matter how individuals, artists that is, take it upon themselves to attempt to change how stuff looks, you're going to have similar things. Especially when you rely heavily on different type, electric, grass, water, stuff like that. Because there's only so much you can change what a ground Pokemon looks like, or a ground Pow. It's one of those things. Accusations of plagiarism ballooned and suspicious over AI usage that has yet to be proven. An army of already dedicated fans have rushed to its defense with their own over-the-top claims. The army includes disgruntled Pokemon fans who see the new video game as an antidote to buggy titles such as Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So, I'm happy that they mentioned that. Because I played Pokemon Scarlet and Violet when it first came out. And then I played it again recently. And there is some quality of life upgrades. But in the beginning, and when you fall into that tunnel and the doers down there, I can't speak. The moss looks like fucking slime. You can't tell me that you have more than 10 Pokemon on the screen and it starts bugging out. I don't understand why Scarlet and Violet was as buggy as it is. It doesn't make sense to me. Palworld defenders have already labeled it as a Pokemon killer and hope that Game Freak learns from its success. Me too, because I'm a huge Pokemon fan. If you didn't know, or if you have not watched the channel, I love opening Pokemon cards and I love playing Pokemon games. And it's just one of those things. Whether you love it or hate it, the last notion is absurd one. Palworld can't be a Pokemon killer because it's nothing like Pokemon. So we're comparing apples and oranges now, or are we comparing Pokemon and Digimon now? Like what kind? Like how different? Now this is the part of his article where I just kind of want to slap him. Arguments that Palworld and the threat it poses to Pokemon can be shut down minutes into booting up the game, because granted you can 100% like customize your character. I've seen some weird characters. Pokemon is a narrative-focused RPG with an emphasis on careful team building and strategy, which I have to admit, they're 100% correct with that. Palworld is a survival crafting game that mostly has players building its bases. Okay, yeah. It has more in common with Fortnite than it does with Pokemon. Wait, so you're telling me Palworld's a battle royale? Or did this guy like lose his mind? I don't understand what his thought process is, saying that Palworld is more like Fortnite, a battle royale where you throw 100 players on an island and wish them luck. Oh man, I have to imagine that any claims that Palworld could defeat Pokemon is coming from people who have yet to play it. I don't think it will defeat Pokemon. I think it's definitely going to open their eyes, and that if Palworld does really well, which it has done extremely well, it could put Game Freak on their back foot. But I highly doubt it, because they've peddled out the same copy-paste game for decades. And guess what? I'm still an idiot that goes out and buys it. They have like it's so funny, because like when it was saying that they're claiming that some of these are AI generated. I think Pokemon at this point might as well start AI generating some of their Pokemon, because there's a Pokemon that's trash. He's trash. They have another one that's keys. Like, they have another one that's just a teapot. Like, come on, be more original. The entire line of thinking falls apart there, but it further erodes when considering the audience for each game. Palworld seems clearly aimed at slightly older audiences, which I think is completely fine. Because guess what? Freaking players can eventually create sweatshops, blah, 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 and it's not after Nintendo's audiences, where Nintendo's definitely mainly focus on kids and families. And foul-mouthed 30-year-olds that love to play Pokemon. Gang. What's up, everybody? Hopefully you guys are supporting me out there. But, yeah, right here it says Pokemon's appealing to its friendly for kids and families. It's an RPG. Combat is easy enough to understand, and young kids who can't quite get it can still have fun simply collecting critters, which is completely true. That's always been a winning formula for the Pokemon Company, even in its series' lowest moments. Both Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet have sold more than 20 million units on the Nintendo Switch, so despite buggy, graphically poor releases. Which I don't get why they're so buggy, and like I said, some of that moss just looks like slime thrown on the wall. It doesn't make sense to me. While the notion of Palworld killing one of the gaming's most profitable series is absurd, other fans have more down-to-earth takes here. So far, the common refrain among fans is that they hope Palworld's success will force the developers at Game Freak to take notes on what players want. I doubt it. I highly doubt that they're going to take notes on what we want. Because guess what? The formula works for them. They can release the same buggy game, graphically poor, and push it out there, and we're still going to play it. That's the part that I hate to say. That's more realistic outcome. While Palworld is no way resembles the mainline Pokemon series, it does share some very loose similarities in Pokemon Legends of Arceus, which I'm telling you guys right now, if you have not played Pokemon Legends Arceus, I highly recommend it because it is amazing. That game, graphically, a beautiful game. Guess what? Gameplay-wise, amazing. Like, the Legends of Arceus came out, and it was very refreshing and an actual open world game that worked, and it looked good on the Nintendo Switch. But they fumbled the bag with, Scarlet and Violet, in my opinion. Because you release Legends of Arceus in February, here comes November for the next mainline game, and it came out and it was just buggy, graphically unappealing. I mean, it allows you to play with 4 friends. Like, I'll give them that. Like, we're in the same world, but, it's neither here nor there. Even then, I struggled to see what Q Studios would take here. Palworld features a loose combat system. At present, takes the basic ideas of Pokemon, but displays them out in a much thinner passive system. It's hard to see Game Freak taking a deconstruction version of its own tight battle system and rebuilding a less involved version of it. Which, we're not asking for that. We're asking for something that's more like Legends of Arceus. Palworld is a bit of a one-way street, creatively borrowing ideas that aren't transferable in other directions. Its monster designs, for instance, largely just ape pre-existing monsters in Pokemon. That's not a problem. Palworld appeals is that it's an edgy satire of Pokemon. It takes the ethical questions of monster collecting that fans have entertained for decades and takes it to a logical conclusion. See, and that's the funny part, is Pokemon does not sell it as you're enslaving these monsters and having them fight for you. You watch the anime, they sell you on you're going to be friends with those Pokemon. So, like, that thought never popped into my head until Palworld existed. You're literally enslaving these creatures. That doesn't leave Game Freak a lot to draw from, though Pokemon taking inspiration from Palworld would be like Marvel taking ideas from The Boys. I mean, Marvel does have Deadpool killing the Marvel Universe. I'm just saying. However, it's a different line of thinking that puzzles me over the weekend. Some knee-jerk reactions have posted the Palworld could force Game Freak to up its quality control following the disastrous launch of Scarlet and Violet, which Scarlet and Violet, like I said, it was buggy. I did like how it was open world. You could complete it how you wanted, but I hated the villains in that. Like, I got bullied. I'm gonna become evil. Like, I hated that. But it is a kid's game. It is what it is. Like, whatever happened to Team Rocket, man? That would be a fine argument if Palworld itself were in tip-top shape right now. But it's not in this case. It's currently available in early access with a big emphasis on early. Its UI is a cluster mess of tiny text and menus haphazardly copied from other games. My short time checking it out was filled with bugs and janky gameplay, understandably. For an early access game, there's hardly a story or a hint of world building. A lot of effort has gone into replicating and refining the basics of a crafting genre, but it's not a polished game by any metric. See, this is one thing I will I'm not going to slam the writer of this about, but I will bring this up, and that is there are a lot of games that go into early access that come out of early access and they are significantly better. They are masterpieces. And the early access allows them to get the funding to push the game forward. And I think that him writing, well, it's an early access, it's janky. Well, you knew what you were getting into, because when you go into Steam, it tells you this game is in early access. The current conversation around Palworld are over for a game in such an early state. It feels like fans are dying to use it as a gotcha, so you can stick it to a Pokemon company that struggled to please older players in the Switch era. I emphasize with the instinct that, but Palworld isn't much of a bargaining chip. It's an entirely different beast if you look suspiciously similar to on the surface. Like I said, it just kind of, I don't like how he really throws that out there, that it's early access, it's this, it's that. Yes, it's an early access, and a lot of people know it's an early access. And with how much hype there is around this game as of right now, and how it's been moved forward, I think that this game is poised to make waves moving forward, because like other early access games, Rust, Ark, Phasmophobia, the list goes on. Those are games that people play religiously. People play day in, day out. And that's just 3 I named off the top of my head without like going through a list. But I genuinely feel that Palworld has a fighting chance moving forward. That the character models they're not, like I said, they're not lazy. They're not copyright, but there's only so much you can do with fur, with leaves, with rocks. I think it's dumb how people are like, you're plagiarizing the Pokemon company. And I think it's dumb how this guy compared this game to Fortnite. Like, for real, my dude? For real? I want to hear y'all's thoughts down in the comment section. Have you played Palworld? How do you feel about Palworld? And do you think that it could potentially put Game Freak on their back foot and make them produce and get their quality control where it should be? Where it should have been this entire time, but they got lazy. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget, mash that like button down below. Subscribe. Every little bit does help out the channel. We're on our way to 7,000 subscribers, you guys. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It genuinely means a lot to me that I can sit here, entertain you guys for, we're 18 minutes now on a video talking about Palworld and Pokemon. And yeah, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you later.